It is Sunday. My kids are already leaving. We had a great time yesterday at Busch Gardens, and last night we went out to a Mexican restaurant and we stayed out way too late. And everybody's very tired this morning.
Mama, tell them how many layers I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, it's very cold outside today. When I packed, the weather was not, it did not say it was gonna be this cold. So now everybody's wearing so many layers. Like Abel has on 4 shirts and 2 pairs of pants.
And socks and underwear. That means
yeah.
I have 8.
He's fully dressed. So we're headed off to Colonial Williamsburg today. And it's supposed to be kind of chilly, so hopefully we'll stay warm enough and have a lot of fun. All right, we're here at the Colonial Williamsburg Visitor Center. We're going back in time, right, Noah?
Sort of.
Sort of?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. We have no idea where we're going, but we're just walking. From this day, you celebrated.
1954.
See, there's markers on the ground that have different dates. You watch no TV.
Oh, man.
We're going back in time. There's no TV. You accept that women cannot vote.
Sorry.
Oh man, this is a bummer. I don't want to go back in time. I don't like this. They says you pay no income tax and receive no social security.
So is that good or bad?
That is a good question.
Okay. 1865. You know?
People who own other people. So that's not cool.
That's called slavery.
That is called slavery.
I definitely want to go
You cannot travel overland more than 70 miles per day. There's no cars. You gotta ride a horse. Almost everything you eat must be raised nearby.
That's dang it. That's a dang it. Nothing is nearby.
Your latest news is more than 1 week old.
It's stale.
No cable news. You are subject of His Majesty the King.
No, there's a king.
We've gone back in time and look. Oh man.
It really looks better.
I'm gonna make a pound cake, so I have to cream the butter first using my hands, and then once that is done, I'm gonna add the sugar and kind of go through it again.
Liver thing.
Yeah.
You can ask him questions if you want. You can ask him questions if you want.
Yes, that's probably an accurate description.
For a while to get some.
Behind you, we call that one the West Advance. There's one just like it on the other side. Now, the royal governor had about 24 enslaved people working this property, but he also had a number of paid servants. Our last royal governor, Lord Dunmore, had a personal chef that was trained over in France. But some of those paid servants would be living here in this building. That was their living quarters. Those enslaved people that were on the property, they'd be above the different work buildings there. That's pretty common here in town like this. Those.
Wow.
This is the parlor over here. This is the great hall. Step on in. There's folks trying to come in the doorway. Move to your left or your right. Yes, welcome.
Man, look at all those swords and guns.
Oh my goodness, we have a prince that's coming with us. Well, Welcome to the parlor and the pantry.
Let's see, this is
And
the
again,
parlor.
if you want to take photographs, you're welcome to do that.
This is the parlor. This is where they would meet with people and play card games.
There are dragons. See if you can find the
Oh,
dragons.
she said there's dragons in the fireplaces.
Dragon brings good luck to have a good time. Scotland has
This is their pantry.
Welcome to the family room. Girls Governor's bedroom and dressing closet to your right. You're coming into the dressing room and family room of a countess. Countess Dunmore. Where they should, in Ireland, or still in
This is our lathe room, so you can see we have this big flywheel that one of us drives, and it turns the wood over there, and the other one of us will cut the wood with a bunch of chisels. We're a wheelwright shop, so we make vehicles, and the wheels that they roll on, like this wheel right here. So that's a small carriage wheel for the front of a carriage. Yeah, it's small, but it's almost as big as you, huh? So we're working with all hardwoods, elm, oak, and ash. Any of the metal components are made here in town with the blacksmiths, and we'll install it. But when we need to make the hub, which is the center of the wheel, we'll turn out something like this. This is a blank of elm, and we'll use this big lathe to do it. So we, right now I'm doing a little bit of an unusual project. I don't know if y'all can see from where you're standing, but this is not a hub of a wheel. This is actually going to be a handle for some chisels that were made by the master blacksmith. So here, you can pass this around, check them out. That's a socketed mortise chisel, so that's for making big rectangular holes in wood. So there's two different types of chisel, a tanged chisel and a socket chisel. And for doing heavy duty work where you're bashing it,
It's pretty
you want to
cool.
use a socketed chisel like that.
Dad, you want to see it?
Since we do so much work with the blacksmiths, they like to ask us to do little woodworking projects for them like this.
That's pretty cool.
Other projects include some tool handles for our blacksmiths. I'm working on a pair of hand cart wheels right now. Just using a hand plane to shape out that material. Hey folks,
Hello.
are you just upstairs?
Yes, we were.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but if you do have any questions about anything,
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask.
You have any questions, guys?
What are you making?
So I'm working right now on a feather that'll make up the outside of a pair of wheels. So I just take a pattern, just like this here, just trace it on, and then I just cut it to that shape. So just like these pieces. If you use your pattern, knock it all together, don't go around.
That I'm tying onto it, facing down, trapping all of your body heat, keeping you incredibly warm in the process. And that's the whole idea behind one. So you guys aren't going to understand, but all the adults in the back of the room will. It's always 2 a.m. when you get up to pee in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah.
And your feet get ice cold even though you're only out of bed for a couple minutes. That's where this guy comes in. He's going to be sitting on the end of your bed with all this fuzz pointing up, just looking nice. You're going to go ahead, you're going to flip it over, trapping any body heat that you produce up against your skin, keeping you incredibly warm. Works kind of the same way that fleece does today in the 21st century, but I need to actually physically hand tie these knots on because they don't have a machine that can do that for me. So it's very labor intensive, but luckily for me, My labor is not worth a lot, so it's going to be relatively inexpensive for the end consumer to buy. The reason these are so popular for me is it uses the yarn of about 2 or 3 blankets, but it keeps you as warm as 5 blankets, which means it'll keep you as warm as 5 blankets for half the price when it's all said and done. So you'll see quite a number of these, and we'll use them right up until we industrialize the textile industry. Because once we industrialize it, and I can just buy 5 blankets for the same price I could buy one of these, why would I ever make one of these again, right? So row by row for me, layer by layer, for every row of fabric I produce, I actually have to hand tie on 45 individual knots. And then once those 45 individual knots are hand tied, I'll then take my shuttle that's sitting right there, I'll whip it back and forth 8 times, building up 1/4 of an inch of backing for my loom. And once that's all said and done, it'll take me 15 minutes, but I'll have a whole 1/4 of an inch of fabric finished. You can go through the whole process again. It's one of the slowest things I can work on, unfortunately. The average speed for me is 1 inch every hour. But if I was just whipping the shuttle back and forth, if I was making flat fabrics like you can see I've got over there, my average speed is 1 yard every hour. So, you can see why these are probably not that long for the world, right? Because I can make a little bit more money if I just do it the easy way, right? Especially once we start mechanizing the industry, we can do that way even faster. So we're showing you one of the last generation of hand weavers anywhere on earth that does this without machine competition. So it's a good thing we do stuff like this, because there's not a lot of people who do it anymore. But you guys have been really patient, which is why now you get to see the fun part. This happens once every 15 minutes. I have finally done 45 knots across the surface of the fabric. So I'm going to grab my beater bar with this metal comb on the inside of it called the reed. I'm going to push all my knots in place. And now I'm going to push down on 2 pedals. 2 harnesses up, 2 harnesses down. I have this opening in between. I can take a shuttle full of yarn like I got right there, whip it through that opening, lay down that one loose piece of yarn, and use my beater bar to press it up against my fabric. We've just made 1/16 of an inch of fabric, everybody.
This will start off as a flat oval, but when I put it into this tool and hit down onto it with a round hammer, it's going to push the metal into that pocket. So this is a special anvil, essentially, to make this spoon specifically.
Into the wig. So we associate white fiber with high formal dress and government office. We associate gray wigs with really business professionalism and higher education, and the darker styles are associated with day wear. The shape of the wig will change and morph over time as hairstyles change and morph over time, but starting around the 1750s, tied back at the nape of the neck, is kind of generic active wear. The idea of it's getting it out of your face and it stays styled better longer. Cool. Is a ponytail hard to achieve on your own? No. So people are starting to put their hair up more often. I, as a hairdresser, need to find some way to make myself still relevant, and that's when I convince you that all these curls and unnecessary accoutrements are a thing that really you should have done because it makes you stand apart and above those around you. So that's really where all of the different variations within that tied back style come from, is, okay, anybody can do a ponytail, but can anybody figure out how to do this on their own? No. So we're going to still be relevant there.
This is where we we saw square logs into specific sizes and then build with it. So you put the square log on top of the wooden frame, kind of like this here, but sometimes we have pieces that are way bigger than this. Pieces that can weigh, over 1,000 pounds, huge logs. And then we'll take a pit saw, which is a big 7-foot long saw. And it takes 2 people to operate that saw. One person will stand down in the pit there, and the other person stands up on top of the frame or on top of the log. The person on top will pull the saw up, and the person in the pit below will then pull the saw down. And you're going up and down, up and down.